All right. Welcome everyone. Today, we're going to be looking at, the what is usually perceived as the foundation of web development. All the technologies that are used on the web revolve around today's topic, which is HTML and CSS. Right. So I'm going to be presenting today. I'm going to be sharing different ideas, and we're going to be learning from each other as well. Always going to do it in the next 3 weeks. But to begin, maybe for people who were not on the call yesterday, my name is Jedane Mkunzi, and I usually go by Dodo. We'll be, I'll be host today. So by show of hands, who have an idea of what makes a web page? I'd like to see the hands up or in the comments. How does one create a web page? Let's see what you guys think. In your opinion, what do you think makes a web page? How does one? All right, Clarice, if you can unmute and say what you think. All right, Jeanette says, I have an idea. If possible, we can record this session. The session is being recorded as you speak. So I would like to hear from Clarice. What do you think, how do you think our web page is made?
Okay. Thank you. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, everybody. For me, I think our page is like a page which can be created by using different technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and this for the HTML and CSS are used for what you call front end, and you can use other technologies for back end, which work like an interface between those front end parts and the server. So a web page is like a page which can be displayed when a user visits or open a website. Thank you.
All right. It seems like Clarice is advancing us already. We're skipping the front end lead and going to the back end. So that is exactly what I was actually looking for. But it seems like people know what a web page is. But let's see examples of web pages. Let me share my screen and pull up browser. Let's say, let me go to andela.com. Right. So before we learn how to create a web page, we need to know, what a web page is. And Chris just gave us, an idea of what it is. But in front of us, we have an example of a web page. Usually, a web page, I'm going to scroll down, and then I'm going to ask you that to look closely, and then I'll ask you a few questions. Then we'll build on that and start to delve into these things, because today I'm not going to be using presentations. We're only going to be it's going to be hands-on. We're going to be creating as we go. So this is a page, when it loads, this is how, what comes on. I want you to take a look at this page, right? I'm going to scroll down, take a look at everything, that's going on, different parts. Great. This is a web page, right? So from this web page, we can actually now even click around and see what happens when we click around. Right? So yeah, this is what happens when you click around. So there are even other other pages on this website. Okay. All right. So now a few questions here. What do you think makes a web page? What have you seen on this website? On different pages. We started on this page, and we ended up on this other page. So what did you see on this page? Because usually the reason I'm asking this is because there's a saying that's that goes like, the devil is in the details, right? So you can see that this is a web page, but if you look closely, we can identify a few things that makes up this whole website. And this whole website is comprised of different pages, but one web page. What have you seen on each of the pages? I would like to see people in the comments. People in the comments, or if they want to unmute themselves and tell us, what did you see on the two pages? Yes, we're not that many on the call. Please, I'd like us to, go together on this because it's going to be much more helpful. So, Chris, did you raise your hand? Okay. Nadine says she can see the title. Do you mean this or this? What do you mean the title? Or this? Nadine can see the title. She can get more specific, and if she can, and if everyone else can also say what they see on the page. Nadine sees the title. Clarice sees the content. But what do you mean content? Yes, everything here is content, but what do you mean content? Oh, sorry. I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. Let me share. Yes, I apologize. I was sharing the wrong screen. All right. So, what can you see on your screen? Can you guys see the underlying website? All right. So, sorry, I was sharing the wrong screen. So basically, I was, I was showing you guys around this, but I was sharing the wrong screen, unfortunately. But now that we can see the page that is loaded, I want you guys to take a look at this page and tell me what you see. Right, I'm going to scroll down again. Right, I'm scrolling down. And I'm going to end up clicking around, and we'll see different things that are going on. So this is the end of the page. And if you scroll back up, we have, we can see different elements. Let me click around and see what happens. All right. So you guys can see this form, or am I still sharing the wrong screen? Might check. Might check. Brian, are you there?
Yes, yes.
What screen are you seeing right now?
Hire talent, the form for hiring talent.
All right. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, so
guys, you can unmute. You can unmute,
yourself and speak. All right, so if you click around, you can see that, it's going to load another page right here. So this is what I was showing you earlier, but I want you guys to, unmute and say what you can see on the page. What makes up this page? Nadine said the title. Others said homepage. You simply said homepage. And Alian said an image. Anyone else sees anything else on the page? Guys, look, I need you guys to, work with me on this, because this is not going to be, just like a normal presentation, because we're going to be coding together. So I'd like you to be more collaborative, and if I ask you questions, you need to be answering. And if you don't know, then you let me know. It's okay, right? Nadine said buttons. That's right, these are buttons. Chance is a form. Then Clarice's links and images. Yeah, so basically, if you take note of those things, we can see that, this is actually everything. So text, as you can see here, and images like this one, and this, and this, and this, and this as well. What makes up a site? So it's just text and images, right? For other websites, you will see other elements like videos. You see other elements like tables. You see other elements like audio. If it's for example, let's say a website like all right, so for other websites like this one, you will see elements that you can even control, like audio and video, right? So if you click on this, you can see that there's this element where we can control the audio, jump to another section of the audio, right? So all these are elements, but most importantly, we can see that it's mainly text and images, and just a few others, right? On other pages like this one, we saw a form as well. Let me see. Okay, let me click on login. All right. Cool. So we saw a form like this, but even a form itself is comprised of different things that are the input boxes and text, and then there's images again reappearing on the side. Okay, So basically, this is what web pages are usually about, and we're going to be studying to learn how to create, how to put this text on a page and how to go about creating a web page. Yesterday, I want to see people who were not on the call yesterday, the onboarding call. Just raise your hand, it's okay. There's a reason, because there are things that you installed that we're going to be using. Okay, Chance was not on the call. Anyone else? We have Alian. Alian was also not on the call. Anyone else? If you don't raise your hand, I'm going to assume that you have VS Code installed. But for Alian, Visual Studio Code. All right, so I want Alian and Chance to go to open their browsers. If you have Chrome, that would be better. But if you have like Mozilla Firefox, you can also use that. Search for Visual Studio Code and open it and download this program. This program is a text editor. So for us to be able to write, to create a web page, right? To write some code that are going to be, appearing as a web page, we need something called the text editor. Yesterday, if you were not on the call yesterday, you can look for, I think in your email, the session was shared yesterday, the email. You can look for it and watch it again. But for now, all you need to have is a code editor and a browser so that we go together in today's session. All right, so for now, you're going to be downloading this and installing it. And once you're done, you're going to be opening it up. Let me share the whole screen so that you guys can see. All right, so basically you're going to be opening it up. It's called Visual Studio Code. Once you open it, it's going to be let's wait for it to load. All right. All right, sorry, that took longer than expected. But all right, so this is what you're going to get once you open your VS Code. And anyone else, apart from Chance, maybe who's downloading an Adrian, and I want Chance and Adrian to let us know in the chat once they have VS Code installed. But for everyone else, I want you to open your VS Code. Right? Once you open it, it's going to look something like this. And this is where we're going to be starting. All right. Okay. I need to know people who have their VS Code open. Just raise your hand. All right. Ariane, Anne-Marie. I need to see people who have VS Code open. Vivine. Someone in the chat says Isimbi. All right. I need to see people. Nadine, do you have yours open? Nadine, Adeline, Agnes. All right, Safi, that's good. All right, cool. I need to see, okay, Nadine has it open. Clarice, Jean Gentil. How about you? Okay, so I think most of us have it open or are trying to get it open. But once you're here, once you have it like this, then this is going to be, our starting point. This is where we're going to start to create our web page. Okay, so basically, as you saw, this is an example of a web page, and maybe we might not end up creating something like this, but it will be a starting point, and we're going to be working towards creating something, actually like this if you wanted at the end of the third week. Okay, so for now we're going to be studying, to learn these things, starting with, our text, and we're going to try to print some text on our web page. But how do we go about that? Okay, I want you guys to confirm if you can see my VS Code like this, so that we can start being sure that we have everything on here. Guys, can you see my VS Code? All right, Anne-Marie says yes. All right, so basically we're going to be starting, creating a project, okay? So this project is, you can call it whatever you want. Let's click here and, let's maybe use, let's use, so you might not have, this one. It's called Finder, but for you, you might have File Explorer on Windows, on Linux. You can just, just create a project, create a folder the way you usually create folders. Okay, so I will open my Finder, and we're going to go on desktop. Okay, so let's use desktop because it's easier. So I'm going to go on desktop and create a new folder and call it my first website. All right, so this, I'm calling my first website. This is going to be the home of my project, right? So if I have it like this, in Find Our File Explorer, whatever you have open, then it's not going to be serving me anything. So what I want to do is to open it through VS Code. So the way to do it, once you have that folder created, the way you open it in VS Code, you're going to go on File at the top, and then Open. And then you're going to go where you have your project. And for me, it's desktop. Then I'm going to select it and then click Open, or just double click it. That is going to bring in, that folder. It's called My First Website, right? So we have it here, and we can add things into it, right? So as of now, there's nothing inside, as you can see. But if we create a file in here, let's create a file called my file, like that. And if all right. So once I have my file there, you're going to see that there's a file in here, right? But there's nothing inside of it. So we're going to be, creating files using VS Code this time. We're not going to be adding them manually, right? Unless absolutely necessary. Like if we have like an image, then we can drag and drop it inside of this project. Okay, so first of all, for you to be able to create a web page, you need something called an HTML document. All right, Jean Jantier says, all right, cool. It seems like she's now following. So the first thing that you need an HTML file. The way you create an HTML file, let's get rid of this. Let me delete it, not the trash. So we're going to create our first HTML file, right? So the way we do it, things are going slow today for me. All right. Okay, so the way we're going to go about this is we can use this icon here that says new file, and then we can also create folders inside of our folder. Like so, let's say, for example, if you had some images to add on the page or some icons, you can say images like this. This is creating a folder. And if you look in our project, you're going to see a subfolder called images, okay? So we will be using some folders inside our project, but for now, what we really we is a file. Okay, so we can use this icon here to create a file, or we can use, we can right click from this panel, like so, and then create, hit new file. Once we hit new file, we're going to be able to write the name of the file that we want and the extension. So the name we're going to be choosing for now, let's call it home page, or let's call it home.html. Okay, so home.html is going to be here, and it's empty for now, but at least it's visible inside of here. Okay, so what we can do now, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be adding some text, some content inside of here. Okay, so basically, for you to have a page, you need HTML, and what HTML does is to tell the browser, what kind of content, we have in the page, and how, and the flow, the flow of it. So if you start with a title and you go to the content, then it's going to be, the browser is going to know that based on what we have here in our HTML file. Okay, so basically the first structure of an HTML document, the first thing that you write is something called doc type. This is to tell a browser that, hey, this is going to be an HTML document. And the way you do it is you open the brackets and then write exclamation, and then write doc type, like so, then say HTML, right? So this is the very first thing that you do in any HTML file. And this is telling the browser that this is going to be an HTML file, okay? Let me maybe increase the size of this so that you can see. So the second thing that we're going to be writing is something called a tag, an HTML tag. Okay, so a tag usually in HTML is made of two things, something called the opening tag and a closing tag, right? So there are two types, and our first tag that we're going to be writing is a tag called HTML. So you absolutely need this tag so that the browser knows that this is going to be an HTML file again. Okay, so we were telling you that this is going to have some HTML, but this is telling the browser that, okay, inside of here is where the HTML is going to be residing. Okay, I hope that is clear enough. And the next thing that we're going to be having is to get us started, to be able to see anything on the page, we're going to need two things. The first thing is a head tag, and it also has an opening and a closing tag. And the only difference from the opening and closing tags is this /. Okay, so if we say a head tag, right, we usually write it like that, head, and for the opening we just do the opening like that, and then the closing in VS Code is going to be auto completed, but usually it's a / and the same thing you wrote here in the opening tag. Okay, so inside of here we're going to be writing the head content, right? For usually the head content is what is called metadata, right? Some information about the page. Okay, for example, as Nadine noticed, we can have something like a title of the page, and if we have a title tag, it's going to have an opening and a closing tag as well. Okay, so let's say home page, like that. So this is going to be our title, right? And we're going to see where this appears on the page. Okay, and we can have more metadata that we'll see later, like maybe if we're linking some files, if we're bringing in some other files from other places, we can do it from the head. Okay, so if we want to say, if you want to type a comment in here, this is how we do it. We open again and exclamation mark, and then 2 minus signs or /dashes, 2 dashes, and we can write some comments here. So I was going to say more meta tag or more metadata. And let me maybe change the color thing to something maybe that is easier to see. Right. So I think this is easier to see, if I'm not mistaken. You can let me know because I couldn't see very well on that one. Right. So more metadata could go here, and this is the head tag. Okay, and we'll be seeing some of those later on. Okay, so right here at the bottom, I said we need two things. The head tag, we have it, and we know what goes inside the head tag. And then the next tag that we need is the body tag, right? So for the body tag, we're going to see why it's very important, because the body, basically in VS Code, if you know the name of the tag, you can just write the name of the tag and then hit tab, and it's going to be auto-completing it for you, right? So instead of just writing, opening the bracket, writing body and closing it, you can just write body and hitting tab, and it's going to be there, right? Cool. So the body tag, right? And the body tag, this is where everything that appears on the page is going to be. Okay, so let me give you a preview of what this means. Okay, so let me comment here. I'm going to open the comments, dash, and then we're going to say the content, the page content. Right, so page content. Basically, there's nothing because this is not going to be appearing on the page, but let's see if this is even a thing, if we can view this in a browser. Okay, so for the sake of going fast, we're going to be, opening this. We're going to open this this file here, or we can, if you don't know where it is and we have it in VS Code, you can right click it and say reveal in Finder or reveal in File Explorer. What it will do, it will open it there. Okay, so we can right click it and open with and choose choose a browser you want to open it with. So I'm going to choose Google Chrome, and it's going to be opening it. All right. So it's going to open it here. Great. As you can see, there's nothing on the page, okay? But we have tools that allow us to look, beneath what we can see here. It's called developer tools, and you can find it when you right click on, on this page, on any web page, and click inspect. If you click inspect, you're going to see that it's going to open it, and you're going to see that, we have our HTML tag, we have our doc type, we have a head, right? A head says homepage, which is why we have homepage here. If we had some other title, like homepage or home, maybe let's say only home, right? Then we will be having home here, but it's not going to reload itself. So we're going to have to reload the page so that the new content is rendered on the page, right? So we have home here, and we have the rest of the tags that we wrote. Okay, so we wrote our head tag, we have our body tag, and we even have our comments, right? But the comments are not going to be appearing on the page. So the body here, we have our title, but there's nothing that's going to be rendered. But inside the body, anything that goes inside the body is going to be rendered on the page, okay? So let's now write our first text on the page, right? So the page content is going to be helping us, okay? So to write some text on the page, we're going to be using, some of the HTML elements. And I would like people on the call, people who have created web pages before, to tell us, what kind of HTML elements are going to help us to add some text on the page. All right, I need people in the chat. All right, as I'm waiting, I'm going to answer Clarice. Clarice asks, what is the role of the exclamation mark before that type? This is basically a special syntax for HTML. There's no special meaning, but the special meaning is with the whole tag. This is, imperative that is there, so that the web, the browser knows, okay, this is going to be this is an HTML file, right? So if it's not there, it's not going to make sense to the browser. All right, I need people. All right, Anne-Marie says paragraphs and headings. All right, let's have a paragraph, okay? So if we write some text like this, like let's say lorem, right, so this is basically in VS Code, you can write lorem and you can get some dummy text. It's usually called lorem ipsum. And if we save this and we reload our web page, we have two web pages now. All right, so we have we reload our web page right here. Let's reload like so, or we can even hit Control R. So it's going to be appearing, okay? But let's see. Okay, if we wanted to add some, this is because the body is going to be showing up. It's not, this home is not showing up here because this is the title. This is showing up because it's inside of the body, and you can see it if you inspect. If you right click and hit inspect, this is called the dev tools, the developer tools, and you can see that inside of the body we have our our text, okay, and it's going to read it by default, but it's not going to make so much sense, because if you had some title, let's say dummy title, maybe it's not dummy, very important title, right? If we have it there, and we hope that the browser is going to know that this, this is a very important title, it's not going to happen. It's still going to render it as, let's refresh. It's just going to render it like so, right? It's not going to know that this is a very important title. Okay, this is why we need things like headings and paragraphs. Okay, so usually a paragraph is this, and to denote, to tell a browser that this is a paragraph, in HTML we use something called a paragraph tag. It's called a p tag. You'll be using p tags all over, and it has an opening and closing. It has okay. The p tag, I mean, it's a paragraph element. It has the opening and closing tags, and it's just like I showed you. You close it with a forward slash, and the rest is the same. Okay, so if we save this, then and we reload, it's going to say, okay, this is a paragraph. It needs to be by itself. Then it's going to separate it from this one above, right? But if you want HTML to know that this is a very important title, then we can use things called headings. Okay, so we don't write headings like that. We write H for headings, right? For the most important heading, it's going to have a 1 on it, and you're going to see maybe the difference later on. Okay, so H1, and we will have different headings. Let's bring in that title. Right, so we have a very important title and a paragraph. Okay, and it's inside of a heading 1. Okay, so if we save this file and we come back here and we refresh, the very important title is going to have to be bold, and it's going to be bigger, and it's going to have some margin and padding around it. Okay, which makes it look way better. I need you guys to to be trying to do this. Actually, let me see who is coding along with me. I know for some people they might already know this, but we have people it's that this is the first time exploring HTML itself. So I need to see people are coding along with me so that I know that I'm not alone. All right, Nadine is doing it. Awesome. Anyone else? All right, Ariane. Anyone else? All right, Brian, we can do that maybe after a few more tags so that maybe we move a bit faster. We'll do it at the top in the next 10 minutes. All right. I think someone randomly. All right. So we have our very important title. We have our paragraph tag. I need to see people giving examples of more text that we can have. If you look at our example, let me actually put them together so that we can see. All right, we have our big text here. If we guess, this might be like another heading. We have some small text. We guess this can be a paragraph. This one, let's see other headings. It's not just H1, right? Let's have maybe like less important titles. For example, let's do H2 and say less important title. All right. So if you have it like that, then we can refresh here and see less important title. It's not as big as this, but it's also very important because it has its own has its own row, its own line, and you know, it's bold and it's bigger than the normal text, right? We can also have something called heading 3. So it's going to be H3, heading 3. And we can also have heading 4. And it goes up until 6, right? So let me do this, 5, 6. So we can now change this. And if you hold control if you hold control D, you can change, you know, if you can select the same letters across. But don't worry about this. If you don't know how to do it, we'll be seeing that maybe later, or you know, as you keep learning some tricks in VS Code. So I just want to edit it real fast so we can, you know, visualize it on the page. So we have our headings with heading 6 being bold, but you know, very small to the level of a p tag. Heading 5 being, you know, a bit bigger than the p tag, and bold. Heading 4, heading 3. And maybe let me add for visualization so that you can see the differences. We can maybe add this text. I say heading 1, 2, so that you can visualize it better. So we have heading 1 being very big, heading 2, heading 3, up to heading 6. Okay, we have our paragraph here, and I need to see people telling me some other text that you can have on a page. We have user says, yeah, we're going to put this recording on Discord, yes. All right. Anyone who knows, who can give us an idea of, you know, other text that we can have on the page? Anyone else? All right, let me give you a hint. What if you are going to maybe write a recipe and you have, you know, a list of items, a list of ingredients in that recipe. You would write something like my recipe, maybe say it's a heading 2, because it's important to say my recipe, and then you have your recipe as a list. Okay, so a list is going to be called an ordered list. There are 2 types of lists. There's an ordered list, it's called UL, an ordered list. Okay, inside of an ordered list, we can have something called list items. List items, we can have no, receive recipe, and it can be can be whatever. Let's have item ingredient 1, right? So we can have allies 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if you open a UL tag and you have, so UL is another list, li inside of it is list item. You can have as many items as you want. So if you visualize it on the page, you're going to see, if you load the page, you're going to have my recipe and your list right here. All right. Anyone else who wants to give us another text HTML tag before I move on to others? And you know, while we are at it, we can also have ordered list. Let's say H another H2, no. We can have some H3 that says steps, and this one can have another H3 that says ingredients. And in steps, we can list out the number of steps. This OL is now ordered list. Instead of being unordered, we have these bullets. We can now have OL, but the list items are going to be ordered, right, from one, and upwards. Okay, so let's say step 1, and you can copy it down. Step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, right? So if we save this and visualize it on the page, if you reload the page, it's going to be steps, right? Steps in creating this recipe. Start with step 1, step 2, like so. So it's going to be numbering it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because it's called ordered list. If we change this OL to UL, it's also going to have, this circle at the beginning. So just to visualize that, you can put a U somewhere there, and it's going to be like so. And if you wanted, you can actually change this to OL, and it's going to be numbers. Sorry. Right, so it's going to be numbers like that, right? So ordered list, another list, paragraphs, headings. What else? What else do we see on pages as text? No, no one? We still have 2 minutes before we have someone share what they have, someone who's coding along. But in the meantime, do you think that's all the text that we have on a page? Mic check. Guys, I don't want to be speaking alone. If you let me speak alone, I'll also maybe get bored and leave. So I need you guys to open your mics, get in the chat, and say what you think. If there's none, we can also continue with others. What do you guys think? Do you think these are enough? Maybe based on this page, based on this website, because it's an actual website. What other types of text I can see on the page? Sandrine, do you want to say something? Yours or Sandrine has the mic on.
Guys, you can type on the chat or open your mic.
Yeah, you can even type in the chat. Let's see who's following along, who's trying these HTML tags with me. All right, Giselle says some emphasized text. Awesome. So emphasized text are actually M tags, and they're just part of the P tags. You can just have M like that, emphasized, and you can say emphasized, like so. All right, so if we come back here on our page and we reload, you can see that emphasized is going to be italic, right? And while we are at in this area, we also have another one called strong. Okay, so Giselle, emphasized. I mean, usually we used to have I, like so. That's it, italic, right? Like so, which still renders as well, but in the new spirit of separating concerns, separating the structure and styles. We don't use I for italic, just use M, right, for emphasis, right? Like so, just like you said. So even for bold text, we use strong instead of D, which is bold, because it could be strong, but it cannot be, sometimes it can be strong and not be bold. It doesn't have to be bold all the time, right? So for strong, you can have it's a strong, IE bold, right? So if you reload, you can see strong, IE bold, right? So these are other text tags, and we have mark, right? So if you want to mark something, if you want to highlight something, you can just say hi. All right, we can just write mark. Mark highlighted. I think that's how we do it. Yes. So if you want to highlight some text, then you can do it with HTML as well with this mark tag. Thank you so much, Giselle. Anything else that we are forgetting? I mean, it's not that we are even forgetting it, but I don't want to give you guys all the tags. I want you guys to even know, give me what you know, because I'm also going to be learning from you. What else do we have? Let's learn from each other. And now the question will become, what if you don't know the tag that you need? Where do you get that tag? Where do you know? How does Giselle know that, there's a mark tag, right? It's not that like she knows all the tags in the world. No, maybe she's come across it. She knows it, but before that, how did she even get to know that, right? Right, Jesus says, Google is my favorite teacher, and Google is going to be your best friend. And if you come here in Google, you can just say, if you want to learn, if you want to see a list of all the, if you want to see the list of all the HTML tags, you can just say HTML tags, right? And this is totally, completely, okay to do. We can just say, we can choose maybe, usually, I would recommend you to use something called MDN. It's called Mozilla Developer Network, or Web3. Let me see. So you can use, Mozilla Developer Network. Right. So write MDN at the beginning or at the end of your searches when it comes to HTML or CSS. Anything is always on Mozilla Developer Network. There's everything that you would want to know about HTML and CSS on MDN, right? So this is the HTML elements reference, right? So you have everything, right? So you were asking yourself, what do we put in the head, right? The meta tags, what do we put here, right? So there's a list of everything that goes here. So there's, there's title, there's style, there's meta, there's links, there's whatever that we want to, we want to include there, right? So we have body, we have address, we have article, we have aside, we have footer, we have header, we have all these things. We have main, we have nav, we have section, right? Text content. This is, what I was asking you guys about, right? So the text content, we have block quotes, we have these element that I don't even know, right? It provides a description. We have a div, we have these are for tables, right? Right, we have allies, we have figure and fig caption. We have all these things that you can explore and see how they work. and there's a description on the side, right? If you want this, I can maybe share it in the chat. Right. So Ariane says you can also use books, right? W3 schools as well is very good. So if it's not MTN, it can be W3 HTML tags, W3 schools. This is also an awesome. Let's see who's disturbing us. Clementine, can you mute your mic? Clementine, mic check. Mic check, Clementine. Sam, can you mute Clementine? All right, guys, please, if you're not speaking, if you are not answering the questions or answering the prompts I'm giving you guys, don't open your mic. Open your mic when it's necessary so that we can learn. Right. So I was saying, since you won't be able to, cram all the HTML tags, the place to find HTML tags and explanation and see how they're used is basically W3 schools and MDN, right? And it's not just HTML, it's also CSS, it's also JavaScript. Everything about those three languages are going to be there. All right. So now that we know that, so you can see we have all the HTML tags, all of them right here. All right. So that's about it, and we're going to be moving on. We're going to be moving on to other things. Let's see. But first, let's see. As I promised, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to be asking someone who's coding along or following along to share the screen with us and show us what they have so far. I'm going to need volunteers, or I'll pick randomly, except for the person who said that they are using their phone, they don't have their laptop with them. But anyone else should be writing something in the code editor. I need a volunteer in a few seconds, or I'll pick randomly. Because if you're not coding along, then it's going to be hard for you to remember everything we talked about and what is going on actually. No one? All right. Let me say not pick randomly. All right, let me say Clarice, because she's been active. Let me assume she's coding along. Clarice, are you coding along with us? Are you writing something in your HTML file? You guys don't let me talk along. All right, Nadine, do you have something to share? Can you show us what you have? All right, cool. You can click on share screen. It's the green button. Sam, can you make me a host? I mean co-host. All right, Nadine, can you share a screen? You can click on share screen at the bottom, and you can even double click it and it will do the trick for you. Or you can just hit it and then click on the blue button on the bottom right that says share. Right. Since we don't have much time, we're going to be skipping this. But next time, guys, be working with me on these things, because that's how you get to know questions to ask. Because if I ask you guys, did you understand everything, then you might not even know that you understood everything, because you're not following along. But as of now, because we still have a few things to cover, I would like to ask, do we have any questions so far before we move to links and images and then move to CSS? That's the plan. Any questions so far? I'll take 2 questions or 3. Any questions? So is everything understood? Okay, let's see those who understood everything so far. It seems like Nadine is having issues with audio. Ariane, yes, can you ask a question? Oh, you understood everything. All right, no questions. All right, cool. Awesome. Then let's move on. Let's move on to the next part. The next part is going to be images and links. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Awesome. So we have our page. We have our page right here, and all right. Right. So we have our page here, and this page, is kind of like empty if you think about it, because what we saw here is that our page is comprised of, text, like you saw, like this big heading. So I'm assuming that this is a heading 1. Like it's very important on the page, as you can see. And this person is also very important, but this person, we cannot type this person out. This is an image, right? So this image is an image that we usually have in the project that we set up, that we style, okay, that we give a particular size to fit on the page, okay. We are going to be looking at that and links and buttons, right? So real quick, let me add, do I have an image ready? All right, so let's say heading 1, let's say images. Let me start changing our HTML. So we have images as the title, but for the image tag, we write IMG. IMG, it's not OMG, it's IMG, right? So IMG, if you write it, then it's going to autocomplete for us. But let's maybe try to type it out ourselves. So we write IMG, and then the next thing that we are going to be writing is SRC. SRC is source, or like the source of that image. Like it's like a path to that image. Okay, so we have our images folder, but the images folder is empty. Let me try to find an image real quick. An image. All right, let's use this donkey. I don't even know what this is, but let's save it. So, desktop. Right. Cool. So we have our animal JPEG here. Let's see if it loads. Yeah. So this looks like a donkey or a goat. I don't know what that is, but let's move. Right. So we have our image here. It's called animal.jpg. And to reference this, we're going to be writing the path to that file. Right. So that file is going to be because we are in home, this is home.html. Because we're in home, we're going to write images. So if you write the right path, it's going to auto complete for us. So we have images /animal.jpg, like so. Right. So if we save that and we reload our page, let's see if we have our animal loaded. Awesome. So we have our animal, which is this right here. But if we have the name wrong, like that, then there's not going to be anything, right? There's going to be this broken image kind of, icon, by default, okay? But there's something called an attribute. Actually, we haven't finished writing our tag, right? Everything was actually image because we haven't closed it, right? So to close our tag, the image tag is something called a self-closing tag. It doesn't need a closing tag. You can close it by / and then close it like that. Okay, so this is an image tag, and if you reload, you're going to see that heading is no longer going to be up, inside of the IMG business, right? It's going to mind its own business here on its own line. Okay, so if you write the name correctly again, it's going to be there. Our animal here, our H2 here. Okay, but because we hadn't closed the tag, that's why you're seeing H2 being all up in this donkey's business. Okay, right? So like so, then we move. Then this is called an attribute. This is the HTML tag. This is called an attribute, and you can have as many attributes as you want. And depending on different elements, you're going to be able to write some. For example, for headings, you're not going to be writing source because a heading is a text, right? But for this is an image, you need the source of the image. That's why you are able to use this SRC tag. This SRC attribute. Okay, so another attribute that you can have on this image tag is called alt. Alt, this is like the alternative text if the image doesn't load. So you can say donkey or something, right? So donkey picture, right? I don't know if it's a donkey. That's why I'm saying that. So you can write anything that you want in the alt. And what this will do is, if you reload this, it's going to just be a donkey. But if we have if it's not, we're going to write JPG instead of JPEG, and it's not going to be able to know what this image is. But once it has a broken image icon, it's going to write that alt text right here. This is even good for accessibility. You get to learn about that maybe later. But for accessibility, for people who cannot see, for blind people, the screen readers are going to be able to read the alt text. So it's good if you don't write, a dumb thing like this. You write, say, you write donkey, a photo of a donkey, or donkey pig, something like that. Something that's more descriptive, or that really describes the image, right? So that the people who cannot see can also know what this is, right? So this is called accessibility, but it's also good for us because we'll know what's broken, what kind of image is broken here. So this is the image tag. Any questions? Okay, no questions. All right. So next up.
Dodo, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show us how you can add an image and then insert inside an image a text?
A text inside
Yeah.
of it, like on top of it.
Yeah, like let's say this donkey, and probably you at the top of it you can write donkey. Do you just use a bold text or an emphasized text kind of?
Okay. So there are different ways that you can do it. So let me show you. So first of all, this is just messy HTML. Usually you're going to write some good HTML, and by good HTML I mean there are more tags that you're going to be kind of like organizational tags. This is usually referred to as HTML semantics. Okay, so the page is just jumbled right now, but if we had some kind of tags that are going to tell the page, okay, so this section is about this is this is going to be an image and the caption for the image. Okay, then we can have that, and which is actually serves the purpose of having an image and a caption, right? Or if say, okay, this is the main content of the page. Okay, so this is the sidebar, this is the navigation bar, this is the footer. Okay, so if we, for example, have some footer content here, we can have footer. This is going to be just, we haven't talked about divs, but you can group things here. You can say H1, okay, let's say paragraph, beta, let's say footer content goes here, right? So you can write your footer content in here, and the page, there's nothing that's going to change about this p tag. It's still going to be a p tag, but for writing clean code, this is going to, the browser is going to know that this is a footer. The screen readers are going to know that this is a footer, and yourself, you're going to know that this is a footer at the end of the day, right? But if you had something like div, like this, and you had another div here, there's no clear difference between these two divs, right? But if you have this one that says footer, and it says footer as well, then this is going to be very clear that this is a footer. And if you have one at the top that says navigation or navbar or header or something like that, then you're going to know that this is a header for this section, for example. Okay. So now that's called HTML semantics. Maybe we'll learn about that in the next section, just a little bit before we start, putting things in layouts, which is going to be faster, by the way. And for images and captions, right? So there's something called figure, right? So figure is going to have, our image. I don't even remember how to write a figure, right? But if I don't remember how to write a figure, can we, look it up, right? Let's go back here, MDN, right? Let me maybe start my search. So we have figure, let me say figure MDN, right? Figure MDN with optional caption element, right? So Yeah. So we have figure, and this figure element is going to be, let's see an example. So we have figure, which contains an image and a fig caption, right? So we are on the right way, right? So we have figure, and then we have our fig caption, right? So fig caption is basically just, like a p tag, right? So fig caption is going to say, donkey, let's say smiling donkey, right? So if we go back to our page, we're going to have, right? So wherever the image goes, the fig caption goes, right? So this is a figure, and the figure by default has some padding because this is the default behavior. Like this is what we intend to have. Like we can have a figure that's going to be like crammed on the sides of that section, but so it has like a default styling. Okay, so it has default styling which are going to be applied by default, and we have our smiling donkey. But if we want to put this fig caption at the top, we can also do that by just placing it at the top, and boom. I don't know if that answers you. Right.
Yeah, that answers my question. But
all right.
I do have one other question I want to ask. You spoke about the div tag. Do you recommend people to use the div tag? Because when as I followed the way you wrote this, the code we are just learning right now, do you recommend to use div? Because as you wrote this is really a clean code rather than using div tag.
All right. So awesome. Let me show you. So I would say avoid using divs unless absolutely necessary. Let me copy this down. Oh, sorry. So let me copy this down like so, and I'm going to be saying, okay, so this is a div, and this div is going to be closed there. This is going to be a p tag. This is going to still be the same thing in a way, but it's not going to be really the same thing. Let me show you. So we're going to still have a smiling donkey, a text at the top, and the donkey itself, but this is not going to be descriptive. It's not going to be clean HTML. That's what she's talking about. So I would tell you that if you have no other, this is called HTML semantics, and it's a better way of writing HTML by using these nice more descriptive tags like section, main, aside, footer, nav, header, all those things. Okay, so avoid using divs unless absolutely necessary. Okay, and once you use divs, you can actually add classes to these and style them, and maybe get to this kind of if you add some style, some CSS, then you can get to this kind of visualization, like with the padding and everything. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be cleaner than this, right? We know it's a figure, it's a fig caption at the top, or a fig caption at the bottom, and we know that. And even the screen readers are going to know, oh, we don't even need to read whatever. We're just going to maybe read the caption of the figure, right, of that image. Okay, so I would recommend not to use this, but there are times when you can't accept, you can't escape divs. So in that case, then it's okay, but minimize your use of divs. Instead, if you wanted to say write maybe a paragraph, right? Say write something like write if you wanted to like group an H1 and a P tag as as maybe, let me show you, for example, this, right? You wanted to write a heading tag and a P tag and maybe this link, right? Instead of writing a div and giving it a class of maybe like whatever, like card, blue, or something like that, right? A section, and then inside of that section, have your image. And then if you don't have a caption, then, you can write a figure. If you don't have a caption, then you can just leave it. You can write a figure and then image inside. And then here you can write, whatever you want, but, wrap all of this in like a section, right? And then, I don't know, maybe like wrap, it would depend. Maybe this might be even not a section, it might be an article, right? And then this whole section with all these 4 articles, they can be, the section that you want, okay? Yeah, that's how you actually go about deciding. So there's no, there's no rule that is, set in stone, but try to use, cleaner HTML as much as you can, right? If you don't know, then that's an opportunity for you to learn. That's when you ask, what kind of, maybe let's say if you're on Discord, for example, ask on Discord, I want to do this and that. I'm thinking of using this tag. Do you think it's the most appropriate? You ask a good question like that, people are going to help you. Okay. So I hope that answers you. So Ariane in the chat says, why do we use image slash? Okay, so images slash. So this is called a path. Okay, so this right here is called a path, and the path is kind of, it's like a path, as you as it says. So it's the path to that image. How does the browser get to that image? Okay, so I have a project here, and this project has an image, and usually, this is called the root of the project. The root of the project is the first folder you get in. Let me show you. So this right here, when you open this folder, this is called the root. So the root of the project, right, is, at the home, like when you open, say a house and you get in the living room, then that living room is like this, where you can see maybe doors to other rooms, like images is another room, for example. And home, maybe this is like a chair where you sit on in the living room, okay? So the root of the project is here, right? So when you say images, it means that, so in the root, so this is called relative path, and you can get to learn about that. Let me give you a link that you can use to learn all about relative paths and links and images. Yeah, so you can use that to actually learn about relative paths. And Brian, can you maybe share this in resources on Discord? I think this can be good. So relative paths, and there are other paths that you can use, different types. And if you read that, it's going to take you like 15, 20 minutes, but you're going to be able to understand, what these paths are. But simply put, this is like the way to tell a browser, okay, inside of the root of the project, there's an images folder, and inside of that folder, there's a file called animal.jpg. It's an image, render it, and if it's not rendering correctly, put there a donkey, donkey pig text there to show that it's a broken image, but it's all about this and that. I hope that answers you. And what do you slash? No, Safi. And I want to ask why Mac provide only yellow color. So I think that is by default, because usually a highlighter highlights in the yellow color. If you know, like the actual highlighter is like a marker or a pen. No, it's a marker actually, a type of a marker, but you highlight the text and the printed text is, stays black, but because the yellow is brighter, the black is still there. So it doesn't cover the black. So the highlighter highlights the word. So usually, because Mark is trying to do the same thing, then that's why it's by default yellow, but you can change the color and styling. And since we are not going to explore that, that's like a homework. That's an opportunity for you to learn. I'm talking to Agnes. So Agnes, it's an opportunity for you to go and learn, right? Mark MDN, or like how do I change the mark color in HTML, right? To another color, for example. Write that in Google, like find a better query and learn about it, and maybe change it to bright pink or bright lime green or bright orange, something like that. Okay, hope that also answers you. Another question we have here is, what if the image is larger in size than you wanted? What do you do? We're going to learn about styling, and you basically write some CSS and give it the dimensions that you want. So you can give it the width and the height, and you can manipulate it whatever you want. You can even position it wherever you want. Okay, so if I don't maybe talk about it in the next session on Thursday, let me know. Ariane, all right, I think people are answered, and we are kind of like running out of time. We still have some like 10 minutes. Sam, I'll give you time at 12 sharp. Because we waited for like 10 minutes, I'm going to extend by 10 minutes, but I'm trying to finish. I'm going to show them how to write simple CSS. Then in the next 10 minutes, then give you some time to introduce the project for like a few minutes. Then we'll stop there. All right. So now these are images, and you've seen different ways of even grouping an image into like kind of like tags that make sense. But then we were talking about links as well, right? So links, how do you link? Let's say we wanted to have a link to Google or something like that, or to andela.com. Okay, let's say links, right? So we want to go to andela.com. So let's say I have a paragraph tag. I say, for more information, read more on. Let's say we have a link that goes to andela.com. So we write a tag. So links are actually called anchor tags, right? We don't write anchor, write a, like so. So anchor tag. And this anchor tag usually has has some text that says, let's say if I want to say andela.com, andela.com, like so, maybe let's say www.andela.com, but I'm gonna get to, let me say, let's get this link here, andela.com. Okay, let's say more on Andela website. So you can write whatever you want here. So because this is an A tag, let's see how it looks as of now. There's no link there, but you can see links. So Andela on Andela website. So it looks like a P tag, right? But if you add one more attribute that's called href. Href is going to be, where does that link go? If you add that and not even add anything and you refresh, you're going to see that this is going to now start to behave like a link, right? So this is just a tag. It will just be a text until it has an href, right? If you want it to be a dead link, you can just do that, but it's not going to go anywhere. If you click on it, it's not just going to reload. To reload the page. That's it. But if you want it to go on another website, you can just put that website inside of the href. Href is like the hyperlink reference, something like that. I don't know what really href means, but that's what it's doing. It's hyperlinking this website to this text, right? So basically, if we reload and we click on this, it's going to take us to andela.com, right? And that's how you move from website to website if you wanted to link some other website, for example, on your website, on your web page. Okay, let's say, for example, you have a biography of the great Brian Mayo. Okay, you can have his image like this, and then some text. No, not this is not Brian's image. But then you can have like an image like we did with this donkey. Let's say the autobiography of this donkey. Okay, the smiling donkey. You have more text, right? And then you can have more links to maybe some donkey on Wikipedia, for example. Donkey on Wikipedia, right? So we have donkeys on Wikipedia, and you can just say, okay, let's have this Wikipedia and more information on Wikipedia. And you can just have some Wikipedia link about donkeys, okay? More on, yeah, more information, read more on Wikipedia, right? So we can now say, okay, this is the page that we have, but if we refresh, we're just going to open it, and it's going to open Wikipedia. But maybe we don't want it to open in the current tab. We want to open it in another tab on the side and leave us, it's going to just open it in another tab and leave our web page here, safe and sound. We can just use something called, you know, can just have another attribute. Let's get rid of this because this is not something that we want to keep. So we can just say, add another attribute that says target, right? So target is going to say, okay, you know, if you want to learn more about target as well, VS Code makes it easy. You can hover over it, and it's going to show you, you know, different things that you can do with target. You know, there's target top, target parent, target blank, target self. But if you want to learn more about this, you can just come here and scroll, read. If you want to read more, you can just go on MDN, okay? But you'll find the same information, basically. So for us, we're going to just use this one. It says load the URL into a new browsing context. This is usually a tab, but users can configure browsers to use new windows instead. Okay, so we can just say new target blank, and it's going to do just that for us. So target blank, and we see, if we save, we reload this page, we only left it with our donkey. And if we want to learn more about donkeys, we click on this, and then it's going to go on another tab. Right, so this is it for links. I don't know if anyone has a question before we move on to seeing how we can start to you know, write our CSS and how to include, you know, how to change things on the page using some styles. All right, no questions so far. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. I'll take a minute to answer them. All right, so now that we have, you know, we've looked at different things about HTML. Now, what if we wanted to include more things? I mean, we wanted to change the way the page looks. As I told you before, HTML just gives the structure, because this is just the structure, right? This is not good. This doesn't look anything like this, right? Not like nowhere close to this, right? And as I promised you, we, you know, usually we can style, you know, A tags to look like buttons, but we also have button tags. I say, click, something like that. So we have a button as well. So we have buttons, and we have so many more things that we'll find out, like forms and you know, inputs, you know, that you can find out on your own. Okay, I'll be giving you a homework about that. Okay, so now if you wanted to say change this background to be a bit easier, the white is killing our eyes, we want it to be maybe black or red. How would we go about doing that? Okay, so there are different ways of doing it, but the first way that we're going to see, and that's going to keep helping us, is to create a file. We call it anything that we want, but usually we call it, let's say, because we have home.html, we can say home.css. This can make sense, but since we are not going to create multiple files, we can just say main.css. This is just me. This is just me naming this. It can be anything, but anything that makes sense, right? So in CSS, we're going to be able to select elements in this page. But if you do that, let's say if you say body, this is how you write CSS properties. Let's say if you select body, on a particular page, then you can say background of red, right? But if you come here and reload, there's not going to be anything. The reason is because this HTML file doesn't even know that this CSS file exists, unless if we link it. So the way to link it, you come here, back here in the head, and you just say a link. You can just, for the sake of time, we're just going to click on CSS. So you're going to say link. It's going to just say style sheet, and it's going to have an href as well. So we're going to, an href, as I told you, is like a reference, like where is that file, in our directory, right? So we're going to say a relative path again to main.css, and this is going to be highlighted for you when it's right, when it's correct, when you're linking it correctly. But if you say something like mean.css, it's not going to come up. It's going to say, okay, the way it's highlighting it, it's just a CSS. It's not that. You need to also add the A so that it makes sense, right? So main.css. And if we save that and refresh, it's going to be red. It's killing our eyes. Let's change it to something like light blue, light cyan, something like light gray. I change it to light gray. So there are colors here, a lot of colors. You can change to anything that you want here in the color spectrum. So this is called the color spectrum. We have all the colors, we have all the lighting, like from dark to very bright to high contrast and low contrast. Maybe you get to know all about that at some point, right? So brightness, high, low, contrast, high, low, then everything in between. Okay, so we choose a color of light gray. If you refresh this, then it's not really white, and it's just gray, and maybe it's easier for the eyes, and maybe that's what you wanted. Okay. Yeah, so you can also change the color of the text. You can just say color, and it's going to be applied to the text, and say white, for example. Right? If you say white, most of the text are going to be white, and then we can just do like let's say light gray. You can even choose by hand, like so, right? Let's make the background a bit dark, not like pitch black, but very dark. And you can just have a night theme, a dark theme if you wanted, something like that. And then you can maybe make all the headings a different color, right? Maybe all the H1s, make them color, or maybe yellow or yellow green, right? So you can have your dark theme like that, right? Maybe not just H1, maybe you want to add also H2, but you want to give it the same style, right? How do you do that? You can copy it like so, right? Save it like that, but then it's not going to be as intuitive, right? So what if you can select all of them here? So you can just select all H1s, all H2s. I'm just using a comma, all H3s, all H4s, all H5s, and all H6s to be that color, right? And you can just delete this H2 and the colors, this green, all the headings are going to be that green, right? So this is how you can start to add some more flair on the page by changing the colors. And we're going to see more on Thursday, more on what you can actually change with CSS and what you can get to using CSS. Since I'm running out of time, I'm hoping that this makes sense, at least how to link CSS file to an HTML file. And you can do a lot. So any tag that you have in here, let's say for P tags, right? For P tags, we want to increase the font size, for example, right? So we can just say P, then we open the curly braces and then say font size. It can be made, let's say, let's say 24 pixels, let's say 30 pixels, right? So if you do that, then our p tags are going to just be as big, right? Because this is too big, we can just say, okay, let's make it 24, right? Then our p tags are going to be, did I save it? Are going to be a bit smaller, right? So we can even change this, say font size. We can make it, can you make it a percentage, like 120%? Or like 150%? If you do that, then yeah, it's going to work, right? So this is basically what you can do with styles. You can change the font size, the font color. You can change not just the font, but also paddings and margins, and so much more. And you can actually put all these things in a layout. Put things maybe on the side, others on the left, on the right, top, bottom. Manipulate the page to look how you want it to look. All right, so I'm going to take one question or two, and then I'll give it to Sam to introduce the project. And after that, we'll close. Sorry, we are running out of time because we also waited for 15 minutes at the beginning. So I'm sorry to be extending this. One or two questions real quick. You can unmute and ask a question, then I'll be able to answer it. Otherwise, we'll give it to Sam. Guys, I need to see a question or someone to tell us, what they learned during this session. It was, HTML intensive, and I would like to know, how did it go? What did you learn? If you don't have any questions. Anyone? Should I pick by, okay, randomly, okay. All right, so Giselle is saying, let me see. Okay. All right. Giselle said she learned how to write cleaner HTML. That's awesome. Nadine, do you want to say something? All right. Agnes says she learned different HTML tags. That's awesome. Who else? Let's see someone who didn't talk. Jean Gentil. What did you learn during this session? You can just unmute and tell us. Others, you can say something in the chat. Jean Chantier, are you still with us? All right, Nadine learned how to make a link. All right. Jean-Jantin seems like she's having issues. Anne-Marie. All right, Ariane says, aside from the tags and other things we learned, I learned how to use VS Code. All right, she learned how she practiced VS Code. All right, so it seems like everyone learned something at least, and we're going to be now expanding this knowledge on Thursday. Safi says she learned how to style a web page with CSS. We actually didn't really do much with CSS. We're going to be learning more CSS on Thursday, and I'm going to give you a homework that's going to include, HTML and CSS, to be that you're going to be working on tomorrow, and maybe on Thursday in the morning, early in the morning, so that at 10 we have a good start. All right. So we'll be giving some a few minutes to talk about the project. Then I'll come back giving you the homework that you're going to take. And it's not really a homework, it's like a resource that you're going to use to learn, but it's also kind of a homework because you're going to have to learn those things before we meet on Thursday. Yeah, so Sam, you can take the mic.
Yes, thank you, Dodo. Good morning once again. I will, so now that you have the basic understanding of HTML, you've seen a bit of CSS, but we are not looking at that for the moment. So we want to see how we can get to use the knowledge we've just acquired when building a page. So the project we'll be working on, we will work on it incrementally. So this is the first week. We are doing 3 weeks. The first week we are doing only the HTML part of the project. So it means if you want to go ahead and do more than this, just HTML, then you're more than happy to do that. But at the minimum, we will expect you to write the HTML part of the page. Second week, we'll do the styling CSS that was introduced. Final week, we'll do JavaScript. So now what are we doing? What will be that project, and how will we get started? Let me share my screen, give me one sec. So you can see my screen?
Yes, we can see it. Yeah. Can you maybe zoom in a bit?
Hold on. Let me.
Yeah, better.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are calling it my social media wall. We all use social media, and we have our favorite applications, and maybe some of you are in love with maybe Twitter, others Facebook, or others Instagram. Some really cool kids are on other platforms like Snapchat and all that. We want to build something like that, but at a very lower level. So such an application that you use every day is built by teams of engineers who are experienced in building software. Since you don't have that experience and you're just one person, we'll do a smaller version of it, a very, very small version of it that you can accomplish, that you can be able to put together in the next 3 weeks. So we'll just have a page that allows people to post and delete messages. So if you think about it, when you are browsing through your Instagram feed, for example, what you're seeing is posts that have been added by other people. So we want to be able to do something like that, but just on a very, very simple level. So what would that look like? I want to just give an example. You might be asking yourself, okay, now where do I start? How do I do that? First thing you want to do is open your favorite editor. So let me see if you can. So I've moved a VS Code window to the sharing part. Can you see it? I need confirmation.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Wow. Although I would love to hear from everyone else, not Dodo, but that's okay for now. So you'll have your favorite editor, and you're wondering, okay, where do we start? How do I do that? You can just go to your editor and create a new HTML file. Just call it maybe home.html, and then create doc type HTML, add the title. So this will be the head. You've seen head. Add the title. And hold on a second. Call it, let's say this is, my name is Sam, so I'll just Sam social media wall. And just come to create a body tag, as you've just learned. Add an H1 heading, then say, welcome to my social media wall. This, by the time you do this, you've done already a lot. So if you go to the browser, let me see if I can open it in a browser so that you see what it looks like. This is, I guess, don't worry about how I'm loading it, but when you just, if you click on it, you're going to open it, and then you see that it says, welcome to my social media wall. This is a simple example of how to start. You should be able to do something like this. Now, if you want to be, well, we leave the details up to you so that you can exercise your creativity. So do you want this to be in another color? Do you want to, I don't know, do you want to altogether remove the heading and do something else? That's up to you. But we want you to be able to get started on this. After adding the beginning, the header, you can go ahead and let's say add a paragraph that says, a paragraph we can say maybe. I can do what? Increase the size. I think I heard something like increase the size. Did I get at that correctly? Was that about increasing the size of the window?
Alian mentioned that, so I don't know if it's okay now on the chat.
So, Alian, is this better? Now I don't know if it's better or not. So how do I proceed? Okay, as when we were waiting for Alian, then I'll just show the other bit. So
She says it's okay in the chat.
Oh, okay. I didn't check it. So we can see that we are in week one. Week one deliverables, you should have a header section. Header section should have the name of the app, a logo, and the image of the user. So the header section is this. So this will be this is one of the elements in the header section. Then we should have a form that contains the following: a post title, a post description, a post media, and a post timestamp. I'm not sure if Dodo talked about the form element. Did you, Dodo?
Not really, but we'll maybe talk about it next.
Yeah. So since that is upcoming, so you come back to that on Thursday. So before you do that, add at least 2 posts. So you can skip this section about adding a form and just add 2 posts. 2 posts, each post can contain or should contain the name of the author. If you think about it, this is like the account that posted what you see on in your social media feed. The title, which is like the, I don't know, a few words that describe what the post is about. A short paragraph, which is more details, and then media. Media can be an image or a video. I would recommend an image since you've already seen how to add images to HTML. Then a time. Time, you can make it static. So we'll just do a simple example of this, what this might look like. And then an edit icon and a delete icon. This will also come later after you've looked at that to add drop-down menus and all that. So what should a post look like? So a post should have a title. A title can be like an H3, and then say this is my first post. Then this is the header. Then the name of the author, you can add your name maybe in a paragraph, let's say. You add your name in a paragraph, it's going to be by Samuel. You can just leave it like that for simplicity, but there's a lot that you can do with that. Then yes, you can say, hello world. This is the post. Let's say this is the message. So this would be like the short paragraph. And then you're going to add one media. So it could be an image or anything like that. So I'll just add an image source. Okay, I need to find an image now. Give me 1 minute. Okay, I've added an image. Then I'll just go ahead and reference the image. Source equals Andela, Gali 55, that's the name. And then I'll just add a alt since you've seen how to use Alt and Ella, Kigali. Then you can go ahead and close this. So we'll go to our page and see what it looks like. Wow, okay. So now the image is really, really large. So as you can see, the image was taken with the high resolution camera. So it's, I don't know, it's probably having like 2000 pixels or something. So you'll figure out how to resize it to make sure that it fits in the window. And this will be your first post. So a post will have a name, the author, the short description, and an image or a video if you want to challenge yourself and see how to use a video. So this is an example of a post. I don't want to add more things about like how to resize it and all that, because I know that you will take some time to go through and see how to do that. And that will give you more ideas of what to do and how to do it. Yet we want you to be creative. We want you to own this work. So this will be, I'm just giving you an example to give you a sense of where are we starting and where do we want to go. You can go ahead and go wild and modify it as much as you want. Do not follow my style. Do not follow anything that I've said. Just know the task you're supposed to do, and then imagine how you design how you'd want to do it. So this will be one post. You can go ahead and create a second post like this, and you'll be good. You've done some really good work. I would say you've done about like 60% of what's required of you for the week one. And that's about it. You're going to add then a footer section. Footer section is going to have links to your social media accounts and your email address or residence, anything that you want. So, but then we recommend at least having social media links so that people can check out more of your work or your social life, if I can say. A footer section will be just another section. After here, you can be like another paragraph, although there are some other HTML5 elements that are more designed for this, but you'll probably have something like ahref, let's say twitter.com/Green, and this is my Twitter. And if you go to your social media, you'll see that at the bottom, you see that this is my Twitter, like this. Okay, if you do all that, you have a header, you have the main body, and you have the footer. So you've done almost all of the week one deliverables, because you see from here we have week two, and we're not looking at that for the moment. So yes, this is the work you're supposed to do. Is it clear? Do we have questions? So after a form has been introduced, we'll see now how you're going to also add a form, an example of what the form should look like. Is this clear? Okay, let me stop sharing so that we can. So we are going now. I see a question about submitting the project. First, do your work, then make sure that you meet all the requirements for week one. We are going to look at your work during the demo on Friday. So Friday will be, if you've taken a look at the calendar, we have a demo scheduled for Friday, and that's when we're going to look at the work. There will be other ways we're going to use for submission starting next week, but for now, just know that we'll look at that, at what you've done on Friday. Does that answer your question? for those who have one of social media link, can provide it only. I'm not sure I understand your question, but you probably mean if you only have one social media account. Are you asking if it's enough or if it's, yes, if you just have one, you can go ahead and just add one. One should be enough. If I'm not getting your question well, you can let me know. How can we get that slide? I will share this with you after this call, so do not worry about it. I'll share this with you. But I'm not going to share with you the code. Code base is just mine. You just have to come up with your own code. I was just showing you how to go about it. And as if you've seen, it's pretty simple to get started. If you are really struggling, if you don't know how to get started, then you can reach out to me or Dodo or anyone, and they'll help you how to get started. Any other question? Okay, back to you, Dodo. Thank you. That's the project we'll be working on, and I'll be working with you closely to make sure that you do the right work and you do it in the right time frame. When are we supposed to be done? You're supposed to have finished this by everything by Friday. So Friday will be Friday morning. Essentially, you should be ready to show us what you've done.
Friday before 10, I would say.
Yeah, before 10 to be specific.
Mm.
Okay, back to you, Dodo. Thank you.
All right. Cool. Thank you so much, Sam. You are wondering, how am I going to be able to create something like that? You know, I don't know anything. Maybe this is my first time to learn about HTML, to see, you know, these things. You know, how am I going to approach these things? Right. So basically, the section that's going to help you a lot is this one. I'm going to be sharing this with you guys on Discord, as well as in the chat section. Let me do it now. Yeah, so in the chat section, it's basically this platform called Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp is this platform where you can learn different skills about different technologies, especially web technologies. So we have here a section called Responsive Web Design. And this Responsive Web Design, this is where you can learn and, you know, practice your skills in basic HTML in the HTML5, which is where you can find more useful HTML elements. Right. So for this week, we have two sections that we want to cover. We want to cover basic HTML, HTML and HTML5, and basic CSS. So these two are going to be the goal for this week. Okay. Your details will be following up with you on the progress of this, but you know, you can jump into them. These are very easy. Each one, you know, there's each lesson is called a challenge because there's an exercise at the end, which gives you more confidence that, okay, you know, I completed these challenges myself, then I know these things. Then you can actually go ahead and be able to start the project with confidence. Okay, so to show you how it goes, you just basically sign up and just sign up with GitHub or email and password or Google, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Google is an option. Anyways, so after you sign up, it's just, you know, simple signing up. I'll show you the page as well if you want. Then you will come to this link. I'll be sharing it with you. It's even in the chat. Then you come here on basic HTML and HTML5. Okay, so to see how these you know, these challenges are configured, you have some text here, which are like, the introduction to the challenge, and what you need to do, like as in like it's explaining what are HTML elements. We already know them. You'll be able to understand this very fast. And at the end here, there's an assignment for this particular challenge, for this lesson. Okay, so the challenge here is to change the text in the H1 element to hello world. And if you do that hello world like so, it's going to render here. This is where we write our code. We consider this as VS Code, and then basically you don't need doc type and HTML and header tags and body tags. Just go ahead and start with the body. Okay, this is just for you to learn HTML tags. Okay, so we write hello world, and then for you to see if you passed, you hit Control and Enter, or Command Return for Mac, or click here on Run Test. Right, it's going to run test. If it's correct, then it's going to give you a V. If it's not, it's going to show you, in the test. Wait. Yeah, so it's going to show you in the test that you've not passed, and the reason why. Okay, so for example, I don't write any code because we have an assignment here. If I run the test without the code, I already have these done. So if I delete everything here and mess up with the code or write the wrong code, it's going to give me different things. So we have some tests here, things that the criteria for success in this challenge. So you should create an H2 element. There's no H2 element here. Okay, so it's going to tell you here the things you have not done if it's wrong. Okay, so if you go back, then we run test, it's going to be passing because we have an H2 element. The H2 element has a closing tag, all those things. Then you'll be practicing your HTML here, and you'll be able to do Sam's project. You'll be able to start the project that Sam just gave you, right? So these you can go through very quickly, but the goal here is to learn on the left side, write code in the middle, and see the results on the right. All right. So even if you take like an hour every day, you'll be able to do all of these by Friday. Okay. So make sure that you purpose to finish HTML and HTML5 before the end of the day tomorrow, and then you start your CSS before we meet on Thursday. And I'd love for you to have finished this by Thursday at 10 a.m. Because this is for you to learn, these things, to learn these skills, so that you can even start the project confidently. So purpose to finish this. If you can run through them, then that's awesome. But make sure that you are learning the lessons inside of here. So this is basically the assignment. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. Questions before we close? We've taken very, very long. So we'd want to wrap up this one. Any questions about FreeCodeCamp and the learning part of it, or anything? Is everything clear? All right, awesome. I'll take Giselle's word for it, and we're going to be ending the session here. And thank you so much for attending. What I would say is for you to check out this new channel called Women in Tech. Sorry. I'd say, all right, give me a second. There's a channel on Discord called Women in Tech, and Women in Tech General. It's on Discord. This is where we're going to be giving all the information and sharing all these links. So be on the lookout for that. It's under Crash Course. Let me see. Bring Discord on the side and show you. All right, so this is the channel I'm talking about. It's called, Women in Tech General. So it's here, and it's under Crash Course. So if you scroll down from information, get to Crash Course, and then down here it's Women in Tech. Let me put it at the top actually. See if it works. Yeah, so it's at the top of Crash Course, and you'll be able to see it when you load, the information. So this is where I'm going to be sharing, more in this link as well. So be on the lookout for that, and bring all the conversation about that, about women in this particular chapter. So I think that's about it. If there are no questions, then have a good rest of Tuesday, and get to work. And if you have any questions, also bring them into the channel so that people can help you. And yeah, also get ready to meet your TTLs, I think, this afternoon. Yeah, thank you so much. Brian, do you have anything that you would like to say before we end the call?
Nothing much. Thank you for joining. I just wanted to encourage you guys to, be always active on Discord and here on chat. If Dodo asks a question, please don't make him sad by not responding. Please just respond. Yeah, but apart from that, I think it was a good session. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Brian. I'll be seeing you guys on Thursday.